Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, the Savage Gangs #1, you know what I'm saying? And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the WWE draft that took place this past Tuesday on my 15th birthday, ironically. So I'm going to be going over my review of the rosters and how they're played out. I'm going to go over the Raw roster first. Raw has chosen Seth Rollins, Women's Champion Charlotte, Finn Balor from NXT, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, the Tag Team Champions The New Day, which is Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, Chris Jericho, Rusev with Lana, Kevin Owens, Enzo and Big Cass, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson from the Bullet Club, The Big Show, Nia Jax from NXT, the returning Neville, Cesaro, Sheamus, the Golden Truth, which is R-Truth and Goldust, Titus O'Neil, Paige, Darren Young with Bob Backlund, Sin Cara, Jack Swagger, Bubba Ray and Devon, the Dudley Boys, Summer Rae, the World's Strongest Man, Mark Henry, the Wyatt family's Braun Strowman, Bo Dallas from the Social Outcasts, the Shining Stars, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, and Curtis Axel of the Social Outcast. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually this is a really good roster. I'm a little annoyed that they broke up the Bullet Club, but I can imagine Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson doing better at AJ Styles' shadow, personally. And I'm looking forward to seeing some New Day versus Bullet Club matches. Because the New Day is a dominating tag team. Not only are they good, they have good gimmicks, they're good at promos, they're funny, they're entertaining, and not to mention, according to Michael Cole, in just a few short days, they'll be the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions ever. And I mean ever. So, obviously, the New Day is a good pick for Monday Night Raw. I'm not sure if this will make the tag team titles exclusive to Raw, however, because it very well may not be exclusive to Raw. I do, however, know that the United States Championship, which is currently being held by Rusev, is now exclusive to Monday Night Raw. However, it very well may not be, as the #1 contender, Zack Ryder, has been drafted to SmackDown Live. So if Zack Ryder wins at Battleground, then he may be taking the U.S. title to SmackDown, which I would love to see. Because the United States title's been on SmackDown in a long time, and honestly, I think SmackDown deserves more credit, especially in the new era where SmackDown's supposed to be considered equal to Raw. So, Seth Rollins was the overall pick. He was the first draft pick, which is obviously huge. Obviously, Seth Rollins being picked is, you know, it's a big deal. So, you know, stop it, cat. Yeah, I had to throw some at him. He's clawing at my door again. Alright, so, anyway, so the United States title may be exclusive to Raw, but it might transition over to SmackDown Live, which would be cool. And Seth Rollins was the overall draft pick. He's the #1 pick, which means that if he wins this Sunday at Battleground, if he or Roman Reigns win at Battlegrounds this Sunday, then the WWE title will be going to Raw. Personally, I can imagine Ambrose retaining his title, because not only is he not very far into his reign, but I think that allowing him to keep the WWE Championship would be better for SmackDown. Because SmackDown has been considered a B show for a long time now. So, SmackDown might finally get the edge it deserves if it becomes the holder of the Covenant WWE Championship. Now, what about the brand that no longer holds a world title? Well, SmackDown's the current holder of the WWE Championship for the meantime, which makes Raw a non-world title show. So, are they going to turn the United States Championship into their world title, or are they going to bring in a brand new title? That's the question. A lot of people are assuming they're going to bring back the old World Heavyweight Championship, which I can imagine them doing. However, I can also imagine that not being very impactful on the show overall. Fuck off, cat, already. I know. Alright, Jesus Christ. Alright. So, So anyway, getting back to my topic, for the meantime, SmackDown holds the WWE title, and Raw may be the holder of the new World Heavyweight Championship, because I can imagine WWE making 2 new world titles. Because what I think is going to happen is they're going to make one world title that's red for Raw and one that's blue for SmackDown. The only thing that contradicts this is the fact that the Women's Championship will look exactly the same as the Raw title. Because the Women's Championship is basically just a red version of the WWE Championship. So that means that if they made Raw and SmackDown exclusive titles, then the Women's Championship would have to be disbanded. But it's already a brand new title, so I can imagine them just altering its look, but I can't imagine them bringing in a brand new, like, you know, title. Like, I think that they should just bring back the old World Heavyweight Championship, but the thing is that people don't think it's going to be impactful on the roster, since the World Heavyweight Championship was always considered, like, the B world title, the world title that people didn't really care about. I mean, that kind of is true, because the Royal Rumble winners, like, they didn't go after the World Heavyweight title all that often after 2012. Like, or rather not, the one Rumble after 2012, before the titles were merged, the winner was John Cena, and he was, like, saying how easy it would be for him to win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and that's why he chose to go after the WWE title that year. So, obviously, people don't consider the World Heavyweight Championship to be as important as the WWE Championship, which makes sense, because SmackDown is considered a B program, and obviously the title that goes with it would be considered a B title. But honestly, it should just be as coveted as the WWE Championship, because the World Heavyweight title had a lot of history behind it. Not only was it in WWE for a good long time, but it was in WCW before that. It was held by Booker T several times. It was held by Sting. You know, it's held by the NWO, who spray painted it at one point. You know, it's an important title. It was held by Goldberg. It's important. Alright? It had a lot of history behind it, and it didn't make sense to me to get rid of it. You know, when I heard they were merging the titles, I was like, oh god, no, don't merge the championships. That's going to ruin everything. You know? And I'm not going to lie, it's been different seeing, like, the 2 titles put together, but now they're not even referring to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship as the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. They're calling it the WWE Championship now, which leads me to believe that they're just going to bring back the World Heavyweight Championship and keep the WWE Championship. Alright, and if the WWE Championship stays on the blue brand, then the World Heavyweight title will be on the red brand for the first time since 2005. So, yeah. Anyway, now I'm going to talk about the SmackDown roster. Honestly, originally I was only planning to watch SmackDown Live, but seeing the roster members of Monday Night Raw, I feel like I need to watch both now. So I'm going to do that. Anyway, SmackDown has drafted the WWE Champion Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, John Cena, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Becky Lynch, The Miz with Maurice, Baron Corbin from NXT, the American Alpha, Chad Gable, and Jason Jordan from NXT, Dolph Ziggler, Natalya, Alberto Del Rio, The Usos, Kane, Kalisto, Naomi, Connor and Victor, The Ascension, Zack Ryder, Apollo Crews, Alexa Bliss from NXT, Breezango, which is Tyler Breeze and Fandango, Eva Marie, the Vaudevillain, Simon Gotch and Aiden English, Eric Rowan, Mojo Rawley from NXT, and Carmella from NXT. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the Raw roster seems like it got the better picks, and it's also pretty well noticed that the Raw roster has more members. But that's because of the stupid new draft rules, because since Raw is a 3-hour program and SmackDown is going to remain a 2-hour program, that basically means that Raw got 3 picks every round while SmackDown only got 2, which is not good. Not saying that SmackDown doesn't have good members, though, because first of all, SmackDown has the WWE Champion, Dean Ambrose, which means SmackDown is going to be the holder of the WWE Championship for the first time since 2005. which is pretty damn cool. Because what happened was in 2005, John Cena was the WWE Champion on SmackDown, but part of that year's draft, he got drafted to Raw and he took the WWE title with him. So the WWE title became Raw exclusive after that. But now the WWE Championship is right back on the blue brand where I think it should belong. And as Dean Ambrose said in an interview, he said he looked good in blue, and I do think he does. Honestly, I can see him being the champion of SmackDown. Personally, I hope they don't screw up and put John Cena in matches with Ambrose, which is likely what they're going to do, because they put Cena on SmackDown with Ambrose. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to ruin Cena on SmackDown, because honestly, quoting Triple H here, Cena on SmackDown is best for business, in my opinion, because WWE is obviously bringing in a lot of young talent from NXT, and they need older talent to show up the young guys. And Cena would be the perfect one to do that, especially since a lot of young talent is coming to SmackDown. Alright, and there's even rumors about Bayley making her debut at Battleground this Sunday as Sasha Banks' mystery partner against Charlotte and Dana Brooke. I can imagine that, but of course, if Bayley's going to be her partner, that means she's likely going to get drafted to Raw, which I hope she doesn't do, because honestly, I can imagine Bayley being a SmackDown diva, personally. I don't think that Bayley should be drafted to Raw yet. I think that if you're going to draft Bayley to Raw, you should wait until next year. If they do continue the draft every year, which I do think they will do, so. Other names that are important to mention, AJ Styles. AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the company right now. He was one of the best, if not the best wrestler in total non-stop action wrestling. He was really, really good on the indie circuit, and now he's in WWE where he belongs. And he's just been amazing since he first came here back in January in the Royal Rumble. And he formed the Bullet Club. I'm not going to lie, it's sad that the Bullet Club is going to get broken up from this draft. But I can't exactly say I'm surprised, because they mentioned that teams would probably be broken up in this draft. And I'm not happy the Bullet Club was one of the teams that got broken up. But I can imagine Anderson and Gallows are going to do better without AJ Styles around, in my opinion. AJ Styles, in my opinion, will do better on SmackDown by himself, because AJ Styles, in my opinion, has always done better as a singles competitor. So, and not to mention, he'll be able to continue his rivalry with John Cena and maybe get a shot at the WWE Championship in the near future, which would be great. Honestly, AJ Styles being the WWE Champion is awesome. The sound of it is awesome. And I think that AJ Styles will do great on the blue brand. His presence will definitely promote the business. Honestly, I can imagine AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and John Cena being on the SmackDown posters and whatnot. Randy Orton. Randy Orton's been gone for a while now, but he's going to be returning this Sunday at Battleground to be the guest star on Chris Jericho's highlight reel. Now, let it be known this will be Orton and Jericho's last time seeing each other, as Jericho, as I mentioned before, is drafted to Monday Night Raw now, which is also really good. Now, Randy Orton's also supposed to be facing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, and Brock Lesnar is also been drafted to Monday Night Raw. So, Randy Orton seems like, for the moment, a crossover kind of guy between the shows. Personally, I've always thought of Randy Orton as a SmackDown guy to begin with, so I'm not all that surprised they decided to draft him there. But also, he's done most of his good heel work on Raw, and it's going to be sad seeing him go to SmackDown instead of Raw, but honestly, the thought of Randy Orton having a long-standing rivalry with Brock Lesnar is just cringeworthy, because I'm not a huge fan of Lesnar to begin with, and I think that it would ruin Orton's career if he had to go up in a rivalry with him. So, as long as they don't do something really predictable, like put Orton in a match against Cena, then I think that WWE should be okay. I think Orton should be okay, I meant to say. Bray Wyatt, that means the Wyatt family is officially broken up since Strowman was drafted to Raw, while Bray and Eric were both drafted to SmackDown. So, this is going to be interesting, because Luke Harper, I don't know where he is. He's nowhere to be seen. I don't know where the hell he's been. I can imagine if Luke Harper comes back, he'll be drafted to Raw, and there will be like one half of the Wyatt family on Raw, and then one half on SmackDown. Personally, I'm okay with Bray Wyatt being on SmackDown because he's always seemed more like a SmackDown star to me than a Raw star. His character seems more fit for the blue brand. You know, the red brand just can't handle it. There's too many stories going on Raw. There's like no space for the Wyatt family on Raw. So, you know, and also I need to bring up the fact that the New Day has been drafted to Raw. The tag team champions are on Raw now. Does this mean the tag titles are exclusive to Raw? I don't know. The tag team titles may be going between brands, which would give opportunities from tag teams from SmackDown to go after those belts, like the Wyatt family, the American Alpha, the Vaudevillains, Breezango, and the Ascension. Those are all teams from... Oh, and the Usos. Those are all teams from SmackDown that may not be able to get an opportunity at the tag titles if they remain exclusive to Raw. While the Raw, I don't think has as many teams as SmackDown. Let me check the list. I wrote them down on a list here because I knew I was probably going to forget them all. Because they didn't even show the whole draft on TV. They did some of it on the network exclusively. So, I watched the actual show. I didn't watch the, the after show or the post SmackDown. I don't know what they call it. What teams they got on Raw? They got the New Day, of course. They got Dana Brooke and Charlotte. That's a female tag team, so that's not really relevant. They got Enzo and Big Cass. They got Gallows and Anderson. They got Golden Truth. And they got the Dudley Boys, and they got the Shining Stars. Okay, I take that back. They both have equal amounts of tag teams. Not to mention the fact that it seems like Raw is also going to be getting the final 2 members of the Social Outcasts. I say final 2 members because both Adam Rose and Heath Slater are officially gone. Adam Rose got fired a couple months ago, and Heath Slater was left on the undrafted list, which leads me to believe that Heath Slater is going to become a superstar or main event exclusive wrestler. Or they'll bring Slater back to NXT to show up the young talent. Or finally, the more likely thing that will happen is Slater will get released from his contract. Now, I know this is hard for some people who have been watching Slater since he first came, but Slater's been really boring as of late. Slater has been falling down and down. He keeps digging a deeper hole for himself. Ever since the core left, like the core featured Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, and Ezekiel Jackson on SmackDown in 2011. But that group got broken up, and since then, Heath Slater's just been bad. He's been a bad wrestler. He's been bad storylines. The one-man band Slater had potential, but they turned him into a jobber who lost to like every legend imaginable on Raw in 2012, leading up to Raw 1000. Then they put him in 3MB. And 3MB was just embarrassing for not only Slater, but for Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre. Absolutely ruined their careers. They both had to leave WWE. And now Slater has cut his hair short, and he was with the Slater Gators with Titus O'Neil, which is just dumb. And then he was with the Social Outcasts. And the Social Outcasts had potential because their members were all actually good wrestlers, but they turned their group into a joke. And unlike the New Day, their joke wasn't very funny. So I'm not surprised that they gave Slater the axe. However, they have kept half of the Social Outcast on Raw. They've kept Curtis Axel, and they've kept Bo Dallas. They both have a lot more potential, in my opinion, because Curtis Axel was dominating when he first came around. Like, when he first came around, he beat Triple H twice. He was with Paul Heyman, and everything was good for him. And he won the Intercontinental title. He was doing really good. And then they turned his character into a joke when they had him start dressing up like Hulk Hogan. And then he joined the Social Outcast, and he's just been embarrassing himself since. But now with Slater gone, and with Adam Rose gone, I think the remaining Social Outcasts could part ways, or they could team up together, and they could dominate the tag team division, and possibly become tag team champions. Because Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are both amazing wrestlers. Curtis Axel, is a former, tag team champion when he was still Michael McGillicuddy, and then he won the Intercontinental title, and and Bo Dallas has been an NXT champion before, so Bo Dallas is actually a good wrestler too. A lot of people don't like him because of his gimmick, the Believe. They don't like that, but in my opinion, Bo Dallas has a lot more potential than fans are giving him credit for. And I can imagine Bo Dallas being a world champion. Now, if he's planning to stay with Curtis Axel as part of the Social Outcast, then I would imagine that they're going to become a jobbing tag team. But if WWE decides to smarten up for once, then they could turn them into a more dominating tag team by having them show up guys like the Dudley Boys, and the Golden Truth, and Gallows and Anderson. Not that I think they'd ever defeat the Bullet Club or Enzo and Big Cass. I think they'd get destroyed by those guys. And I'm pretty sure they'd lose to the Dudley Boys as well. So I'm pretty positive the Social Outcast is going to be a disbanded tag team. And if they do disband, then that'll be even better, because Curtis Axel could go after a mid-card title, and I think Bo Dallas could get into a big rivalry against Seth Rollins, or a world champion. If they decide to bring in the World Heavyweight Championship, they'll probably have a tournament to crown the new champion, or Stephanie will be cocky and she'll just award it to Seth Rollins or some shit like that, which I hope she doesn't do. But if they have a tournament for it, which is the more likely outcome, Bo Dallas should win the tournament, or he should at least make it to the finals of that tournament, and then if he loses the tournament, he can get into a rivalry with the winner. That is good story right there. And then there could be a ladder match for the title, just like when he was in NXT, and Bo Dallas could be taken seriously again. That's what WWE should do. Bo Dallas being on Raw and Curtis Axel being on Raw is good. Who else should I mention? Oh yeah, Raw has taken both the Giants. They've taken both Great Khali, or not Great Khali, What is wrong with me today? They've taken the Big Show and Mark Henry. Big Show and Mark Henry are both getting old, though. I'm not gonna lie. They haven't been doing a whole lot. It's probably because they're getting older, and heavy guys when they get older is not a good combination. So, a lot of people have to be worried about their health. Henry's been staying in shape, but I'm not sure how Big Show's doing. Big Show hasn't been making a lot of appearances. He doesn't make enough appearances, and people are starting to worry about his health, which they should have been worrying about a while ago. Big Show, I wouldn't be surprised if Big Show would be leaving in retirement fairly soon. That would be really emotional. And same with Mark Henry. Both Big Show and Mark Henry have been doing this a long time now, and so is Kane, so I wouldn't be surprised if they all left. Not that I want them to leave, but just, they're getting old now. Big Show is probably in his 50s, and I think Mark Henry's in his 50s. I know Kane is in his 50s. And The Undertaker's in his 50s. These are guys that are getting too old for this. And Ric Flair might have wrestled a long time, but he eventually had to retire. He retired in his late 50s or early 60s. I don't remember which. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they had to leave too. If they do leave, then that might be good for them, because then they could join the Hall of Fame. Because it's obvious that Big Show, Mark Henry, Kane, and Undertaker are all Hall of Fame, candidates. And so obviously Triple H is too, and I don't think Triple H should be wrestling anymore either. Triple H and Shawn Michaels are the same age. Triple H, and Shawn Michaels are the same age, right? So, Triple H is just as old as Shawn Michaels is, technically. And Shawn Michaels is fairly old now. Now you have to be worried about what Triple H is going through. So, I don't know. Triple H was not included in the draft, so I'm going to assume that he's not going to be wrestling on the weekly programs. He might be wrestling in like pay-per-views every now and then like he normally does, but he will not be wrestling on Raw or SmackDown. Sheamus on Raw. This is kind of weird. I kind of was thinking they were going to put him on SmackDown because his character is more SmackDown worthy in my opinion. But I'm okay with them doing stuff on Raw with him because I can imagine him going after the World Heavyweight title as well when they bring it back. So, yeah. Sheamus on Raw is okay. Neville, I kind of really wanted to be on SmackDown as well. Neville seems like a good high flyer that could promote SmackDown as a cover superstar. Raw's never going to let Neville be on the poster, okay? Raw's going to be putting Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Big Show and shit on the posters. They're not going to put him on the posters. You know, Neville's not going to get to be on the posters. SmackDown's more expendable. SmackDown could put him on the posters, but they can't now since Neville's been drafted to Raw. Next year, they better put Neville on SmackDown because I don't see him doing very well on Raw, in my opinion. Finn Balor, I can't imagine on Raw. I could imagine Finn Balor taking over the Bullet Club because Finn Balor was the original leader of the Bullet Club before AJ Styles took over it. So, Finn Balor could retake the Bullet Club since Anderson and Gallows are on Raw now, and so is Balor. So, Balor could take over the Bullet Club in Styles' place, which would be a really cool storyline. Nia Jax, I don't think deserves to be on the show yet. Nia Jax, sure, she's a good wrestler on NXT, but she hasn't been around long. Like, she hasn't been around nearly long enough to be, like, considered, like, a diva who deserves to be on Raw. If you ask me, Bayley should have been the one brought up. Although there is rumors of Bayley being brought up as Sasha Banks' mystery tag team partner against Charlotte and Dana Brooke this Sunday at Battleground, which would make sense, but it would also make sense to bring back an old diva like Lita that's still capable of wrestling. I'm not sure how they'd feel about Hall of Famer being on active duty, though. So, yeah. The Dudley Boys have always seemed like a Raw team for me, so that's an A+ for them. So frickin' get the tables and break them on Monday Night Raw. You know, because the Dudley Boys have always been more of a Raw team to me. Anyway, what they should do is they should bring back Spike Dudley, in my opinion. I don't know where the hell Spike Dudley is right now, but Spike Dudley coming back to Monday Night Raw would be amazing. It would definitely up the ratings. Alexa Bliss on SmackDown. Now, I remember Alexa Bliss when she first debuted. She had like a tutu and she did curtsies and shit. Like, I thought she was fucking hot, if I'm honest. I mean, who didn't think she was hot? Then she turned heel, apparently, when I stopped watching NXT. And now she's being called up. I guess Alexa Bliss has been doing a good job, because now she's getting called up. I only recently got back into the wrestling stuff, so I've only recently been discovering wrestlers like Shinsuke Nakamura. And let me be honest, I am also really disappointed that Shinsuke was not drafted. But I'm not all that surprised either, because he hasn't been around nearly as long as some of the other NXT wrestlers that were drafted, such as Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. So, yeah. Let's see. The Vaudevillains on SmackDown. They're a good team. I love their gimmick, and I'm happy they decided not to break them up. Because they're a dominating tag team, and I love their black and white gimmick, and their mustaches are really funny looking. And their entrance on WWE 2K16 is really fun to watch. So yeah, the Vaudevillains I think are going to be the dominating tag team for SmackDown. I can imagine them showing up like Breezango or something. I can't really take that team seriously. It's mostly just because of their name. But I can also imagine the American Alpha dominating SmackDown. I can imagine a huge rivalry taking place between American Alpha and the Vaudevillains. And in my opinion, American Alpha would probably get the victory in that feud overall. But it would be kind of cool to see a twist and have the Vaudevillains win that from the interference of another tag team. or something like that. Like the Ascension could get back involved in things, and the Usos could get back involved, because the Usos have been out of crap for a while now, and so have the Ascension. So, Apollo Crews on SmackDown. This is interesting now. Apollo Crews has not been around that long either. Apollo Crews is a good wrestler, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't not been around for very long. So it's going to be interesting to see him on SmackDown along with Mojo Rawley, who has wrestled in NXT for years now, and I've been waiting to see him finally get promoted to SmackDown, or drafted. And, is Zack Ryder? Yep, Zack Ryder's on SmackDown too, which means that the Hyper Bros might reunite. Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, the Hyper Bros might be reunited on SmackDown, which could also be a good tag team, showing up teams like Breeze Zongo and shit like that. So, yeah, I can imagine Mojo Rawley getting into a one-on-one feud with Apollo Crews, or re-teaming up with Zack Ryder to face the Vaudevillains or something like that. Kalisto on SmackDown and Sin Cara on Raw. Obviously the Lucha Dragons are broken up now, and that's not good for business. The Lucha Dragons were a fan favorite team, and it sucks that they're split up now. Because they're one of my favorite tag teams to play as in WWE 2K16, and they're also one of the most fun teams to watch, so it sucks they're being split up. But Sin Cara could get a singles push, and so could Kalisto. They're both worthy of singles pushes. Kalisto a bit more than Sin Cara, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Lucha Dragons no longer being a team. Becky Lynch on SmackDown. This is a good choice for first diva pick of SmackDown. Becky Lynch is by far one of the best divas there is right now. But that's not on NXT, because in my opinion the best diva is Bayley, but she's still on NXT. So, and you know, I like what they're doing with Becky Lynch. Like, they're having her be a rough and tough diva. They're not having her be a girly girl who wears heels and short dresses and shit a lot. Like, they don't make her look like a Total Divas member. Like, Becky Lynch is a brawler. Like, she's an actual brawler, you know? Like, you know, she beat the crap out of Natalya on SmackDown Live. Like, she beat the shit out of her. She couldn't even wrestle against Alicia Fox like she was supposed to. You know, and that was awesome. That is how wrestling should be for both men and women. People beating the crap out of each other when they don't expect it. And the thing was, it came back from commercial break, so no one saw it coming. You know? So Becky Lynch on SmackDown's good. I'm looking forward to seeing her dominate divas on SmackDown. What other divas are on SmackDown? Naomi, Carmella, Eva Marie, Alexa Bliss. Technically Maurice, but she doesn't wrestle anymore. And that's it. SmackDown obviously doesn't have a lot of divas. Wait. Oh, and Natalya. I forgot Natalya. So SmackDown obviously has some divas, and everyone's saying that the Divas division's too thin for them to split them up between Raw and SmackDown. In my personal opinion, that's not true. Besides the fact that they're also probably going to be bringing up Bayley soon, and they may be bringing back some old divas like Lita, then the Divas division's still going to continue growing. They also might bring back Michelle McCool or Beth Phoenix, which would be awesome. So, you know, just, yeah. You know, Divas division's ever growing, so I can imagine why they would break them up. However, SmackDown needs a Divas championship for divas like Becky Lynch to go after. Because it would suck for Becky Lynch to be a fan favorite wrestler, but not have her, you know, a title to go after. That would suck, right? So, that might happen if they don't get a SmackDown exclusive women's championship. Eva Marie. I never liked Eva Marie, so I'm annoyed that she's still around, for one thing. And I hope that she gets the crap beating out of her by Alexa Bliss. Or, Alexa Bliss. I meant Becky Lynch. Duh. But I wouldn't mind Alexa Bliss beating her up either. Because if they don't decide to promote Becky Lynch, then I can imagine them promoting Alexa Bliss. They brought Carmella up from NXT for SmackDown as well. She has a lot of potential. Now back to Bayley. I like Bayley because she's not your typical girl. Like, she's attractive, but she doesn't try to be attractive, okay? Her hairstyle's funky. She dresses a lot differently than the other divas. She actually wears pants and not skimpy shorts. Um, her entrance is cool. She's a fan favorite. She's really, a happy wrestler all the time, and she like greets her fans on the way to the ring. She likes her child fans. She likes like the little kids that are fans of hers. I'm pretty sure she's got little girls dressing up like her and having her hairstyle now. You know, just she's also a good wrestler. She's good with fans, and I bet she's good with promos. I'm pretty positive that she's good with promos. So Bayley being on SmackDown would be good. I can imagine that they'd probably draft her to Raw, but I would love to see her get drafted to SmackDown and be able to wrestle divas there like Natalya, Becky Lynch, and Alexa Bliss. So yeah. And Dolph Ziggler, I have to mention him too. Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown is kind of predictable. Dolph Ziggler's a babyface, and he's been a babyface for years now. They need to promote Ziggler more. Like, put Ziggler in a feud for the WWE Championship. Like, turn him heel again. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Dolph Ziggler was better heel. Because I liked him when he was a bad guy, but people still cheered for him. He's a good face, I'm not gonna lie, but he needs to turn heel again, otherwise people are not gonna take his character seriously. And Ziggler is someone who is worthy of a promotion. He needs a big push, and a heel turn would give him that push. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Ziggler will do on SmackDown. Whether or not he'll go after the Intercontinental title or the WWE title is up to the WWE Universe to decide. Cheer for Ziggler if you want to, or tell WWE what you think they should do with Ziggler, and they might actually listen to you for once. So yeah, was that it? I don't remember if I have anything else to talk about. Oh yeah, Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin has been dominating NXT, and he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 32 a couple months ago. So Baron Corbin is definitely worthy of a position in WWE, and now he's got it since he's been drafted to SmackDown Live. Now, I can imagine Baron Corbin doing great things. I can imagine him being a good mid-card wrestler, possibly a main eventer when the time comes. What I can imagine them doing is having him being a mid-card wrestler, constantly going after the Intercontinental title for the first year or two of his WWE career, before they eventually have him do a face turn and go after the WWE title. And of course the champion at that point would have to be a heel. So just do something like that, and Baron Corbin will be very much well promoted. Alright guys, I'm going to call it for a video now, so yeah. I'm going to let you guys go. If you guys didn't like the video, then fuck you, I try my best. So, bye-bye bitches, bye assholes, bye friends, bye Cena lovers, bye Triple H lovers, bye faggots, bye everybody that's stupid. Just fuck off. This has been your boy, the Savage Gangster, #1.